As they grew up, we discovered that they had ADD and learning disabilities, both of them, which was not a surprise to me. It's a very, very high percentage of adopted children that do. So I was ready. I put them through a special program called the Aerosmith program to get rid of the learning disabilities and the ADD. But while this was happening, they were about 7 and 8 years old, and for the next about 3 or 4 years, I went through the Hurricane Irma of divorces. Now, if you've heard my speech on that, you can hear that another day, but it was horrible. And their father really undermined my mothering abilities and undermined my discipline. And I didn't feel as though I had any power from a mother perspective. But I often, as they were growing up, wanted to know, and it was a little bit of a hobby of mine, to track the differences between nature and nurture. What are the differences? I mean, can we make a difference, or are they already predestined? Well, after the divorce and we all were going through chaos, they hit their teen years. And teen years are tough enough as they are, let alone with ADD and learning disabilities. And my younger one became very suicidal. She started self-harming in 3 different methods. She was hospitalized twice for suicidal risks. I was lucky enough, I had a very good support system. And I was able and forced to put her in residential treatment center when she was 13 up in Collingwood. I saw her every other weekend. I talked to her every night. But that distance mothering was really, really hard on both of us. If you've ever read the book, Mummy, I Hate You, But Don't Leave Me, that was the relationship we had with the push and the pull. It was hard on her, it was hard on me. The older was spoiled by her father, and he basically gave her everything she wanted. Unbeknownst to me, at the age of 14, he would leave her in his house for weeks on end alone with lots of money, and off he'd go. And I didn't know. So she had this idea that she could take care of herself at 14. She became very, very sexually promiscuous. She quit high school in grade 9. She moved in with her 19-year-old boyfriend when she was 16. And they used his welfare money to buy drugs. He became violent. She became pregnant. But she basically lost the baby. A blessing in disguise, I believe, but she lost the baby with one too many punches to the stomach. She was too ashamed to come home, so she became homeless for a year, sleeping on couches any which way she could get acceptance. As you can tell by this point, I'm not exactly feeling like Mother of the Year, okay? I'm feeling very shamed and guilty. And I was wondering, is it me? Am I doing anything wrong? Or is it something else? Well, I think destiny helped me out there. And one day, later on, my older daughter came to me and she said, "Mom, I have found my sister." Now, this is the full 100% sister that she had with the birth father. And she had found her on Facebook. And she shows me this Facebook page, and this girl looked like her, she talked like her, she had all the same interests as her. I could swear that was my daughter's Facebook page. It blew me away. She chatted with her for a long time. We found out she was raised by her grandparents, who were 36. And the birth father had fathered 7 more children besides those 2. she found out more information. She finally, we found out about the birth mother, who had been a heroin addict and was living on the streets for 12 years, and the birth father over the years had been in and out of jail. After she had these encounters, she met her birth mom, and she met her birth father and another one of her half-sisters. And it really, really helped a void in her life. My younger daughter, the same thing. She met the birth mother. Remember, she doesn't know her birth father, so there's a whole interaction there too. A couple of weeks after, or a couple of months after that, I met the birth mother. The girls really, really wanted me to meet her. And the very, very first thing that the birth mother said to me was, "Thank you for raising my daughters." And I replied, "Thank you for having them and giving me that opportunity." We became instant friends and family all at the same time. We respected each other for what we could do. We teased and laughed about it, but we were a tag team. She gave birth, I raised them. So it was a tag team. But the next experience really, really blew me away. One day, the four of us are in Tim Hortons having a coffee. And it's not much longer, since the girls had met her and I had met her. And we sat there, and even though I knew these kids and raised them since they were babies, they were sitting there with a stranger that happened to give birth to them. And yet, the three of them were talking and laughing and gabbing as if they had known each other their whole lives. And not me. I was the odd person out. I felt like a stranger. I felt like the stranger, and she had been the one to know them their whole lives. It changed my whole perspective on nature versus nurture. New discoveries in heredity have come out with epigenetics. I don't know if you've heard of any of that. Epigenetics, DNA and genes are hard-coded, and they are passed down from birth parents that give you all of your physical characteristics. Epigenetics are now discovered to be passed down from your birth parents for personality characteristics, mannerisms, emotions, fears, habits and experiences, and it's actually written into a sheath around the DNA that gets passed down from your birth parents. But unlike DNA and genes that cannot be changed, epigenetics can be changed. And the whole nurture versus nature comes into play. Did I have any influence in my children's upbringing? Yes. I actually see it now, not during their teen years. But now that they're in their 20s, they're actually listening to me. All of a sudden, I'm smarter. But they have had my influences. They also have the influences of their birth mother. The one thing she and I share is strength and resilience against adversity. And we respect that, and the kids are going to keep that inside their epigenetics. So whether you have nature or nurture, it's actually irrelevant. The person that as they become an adult, they can actually be who they want to be and change their epigenetics. They can take the best of all worlds. And in our situation, the epigenetics of nature versus nurture, they did take the best of all worlds. Thank you very much.